I've always been drawn to a slower, simpler way of living, and I've always felt my best when I had time to drink a cup of tea and read a book, when I'm not rushing, overcommitting, or hurrying through my days. But for a long time, my habits were not always in line with that. I scheduled way too many things in my calendar, I pushed myself to meet my own unrealistic expectations, and it was hard for me to find time to relax and just be. And this eventually led to a 2-year burnout that forced me to slow down and rethink how I approach life. Over time, I've learned that slow living isn't so much about what you do, it's more so about how you do things. So in today's video, I'm sharing 10 things I quit for a slower, calmer, more intentional life. And these things help me to be more grounded and relaxed and feel like I have enough time in the day. So I hope that they will inspire you too. So as always, feel free to grab something nice for yourself to drink and join me if you want, and let's talk about it. Before we begin, this video is made possible by my supporters on Patreon and my YouTube members. So a huge thank you to them for supporting the channel and helping me to keep making these videos for everyone here on YouTube. I post 2 exclusive videos every month for my patrons and my YouTube members. So if you would like to help support the channel as well and get access to all of these extra videos, then you can decide for yourself if you would rather do that on Patreon or here on YouTube as a channel member. They're the same videos, the same 2 tiers, and I will leave the links for you in the description box below. So thank you to all my supporters, and let's begin with the video. The first thing I quit that I want to talk about is shaping my days by pushing myself. So this is about the way that I start and approach my day. What I did before in the morning was just quickly go over my schedule in my head, like what is it that I need to do today? How can I make sure to get it all done? How can I make sure to get good results? And how can I push myself even if I'm not feeling up to it to still get everything done? What this led to was me pushing myself too hard on days when I really wasn't feeling up to the things that I had scheduled in my calendar, and the way I felt actually was not that much of a priority for me. I just wanted to get everything done. And you know, some days that was easy, but other days, we all have days when you kind of wake up feeling a little groggy or a little bit more tired than usual, or you're just not really feeling it. I just kind of pushed all of that aside and prioritized my tasks. And what has really shifted is my priority. So how I start my days now is not by asking what is everything that I need to do today, but more so how am I feeling today? Just a little quick check-in. How's my body feeling? How did I wake up? How did I sleep? How am I feeling emotionally and mentally? So am I feeling light and optimistic and cheerful, or am I feeling really heavy or tired or grumpy? And if it turns out that I'm not feeling my best, instead of approaching it like, okay, how can I push myself by maybe drinking more coffee or doing something else? But rather, okay, what can I do today? Maybe change some things around to help myself in advance. So I try to set myself up for a successful day, and nowadays the definition of a successful day has changed a little bit. So now I focus much more on how can I reach the end of the day without feeling completely exhausted, or how can I just feel a little bit better and have more fun during my day. It's more so about how you approach things and how can you make little adjustments here and there by being in tune with yourself, with how you woke up that morning, to make things go a little bit smoother. Number 2 is running to catch the train, or in my case also the subway. I used to always run to catch the train or the subway, even if it meant that, you know, I was running with my heart racing and there was stress building up in my body. I just prioritized getting the earlier train. And that was because I was in a constant kind of stressed, hurried state of go, 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 and those 10 or 15 minutes that running to catch the train would save me took priority over having a relaxed day and just feeling like I was having fun and I could relax. But I've realized that rushing puts your nervous system in a state of urgency, and over time that really adds up. So obviously, if you're not in the habit of taking public transportation, this could also be used for other things, running errands, for example. That small amount of time that you win by rushing through your errands, in my experience now, is not worth putting your nervous system through all of that rushing, because it creates unnecessary stress and it makes us feel like we don't have enough time. Something else I've changed that really has been super helpful is trying to arrive, especially to important things, earlier. So I make sure often that I'm somewhere at least like 30 minutes earlier, so I can just kind of cool down from the commute, have a cup of tea somewhere maybe, so you can kind of just like, and then if there is something like a delay or there's traffic and you're running late, you still are relaxed because you've calculated that extra time and you know that you don't have to stress about being on time. It might seem rather innocent to rush to the train or rush through your errands, but in my experience, rushing through things, it just signals to your brain that time is scarce and that you are always behind, trying to catch up. And I don't want to live in that state anymore, so I approach it much more relaxed now. The third thing that I quit is doing tasks back to back. So I used to do things just one after the other. I would do task A and then I would do task B, and even taking like 5 or 10 minutes in between the tasks just felt like a waste of time because I was in that go, go, go state. And the thing when you're in that state is it can actually feel kind of good in a strange way. Like you're maybe hopped up on coffee a little and you're getting things done and you're being like, yeah, but if you don't take that little break in between, it does catch up to you. Our brains are actually not designed to work for hours at a time. We need a little bit of time to process what just happened, the thing that we just closed off, and get ready for the next thing. And I was reminded, especially when I started learning more about being a highly sensitive person, which I then found out I was. And one of the things they say is super, super important if you're a sensitive person. Because of our depth of processing in our brain, we need that extra little bit of time in between tasks to process, cool down, and get ready for the next thing. And if we don't take that little bit break in between the tasks, then we run the risk of burning out, which I did. So it can just be sitting on the couch for 5 minutes with my eyes closed. Sometimes I stare out the window for a few minutes. Sometimes I kind of like walk around the house or do a little bit like unload the dishwasher. So not breaks to scroll on your phone or check your email or answer a text or something, but actual restorative breaks. And they don't need to take long. That is the crazy part. Even 5 minutes is super helpful. For me personally, I have always struggled a little bit with anxiety, especially in the evenings. I get these anxious thoughts, they pop up. And especially last year, this was pretty bad. And I found that I kind of fell into that old habit of doing tasks back to back and not taking enough small breaks in between. And now that I'm doing that again, I notice that my anxiety in the evenings is much, much less. It's much more doable. And I think that is because I'm now not using my brain full go, go, go mode all day. Because if you do that all day, then it has trouble turning off at night. And now that I am taking time to process things, my brain just kind of is in a much more relaxed state, and that really has helped with my anxiety in the evenings. Number 4, I'm curious if some of you can relate to this one. It is about hobby and book FOMO. I have always had lots of interests, books that I want to read, movies I want to watch, classes I want to take, skills I want to learn, creative hobbies that I want to get into. And while it is beautiful to be inspired by so many things and find joy in them, it can also be overwhelming, because I used to experience this kind of feeling of FOMO when it came to these things, because I knew that there was never going to be enough time for me to pursue everything that I was interested in. For example, I will be reading a book and it was like a longer book, but during reading that book, maybe some other books came out that I would love to read, and all of a sudden I kind of felt impatient with my long book, like I needed to read faster to get through it so that I could also read those other books. But the pressure to keep up was actually decreasing my enjoyment, because I wasn't able to enjoy and be present with the book that I was reading because I was already thinking about the next thing. Over time, I've learned to approach my hobbies and interests much more mindfully and more present, to really enjoy the thing that I'm doing now without getting distracted by the FOMO of the other things that I could also be doing. And I've also accepted that as someone with a curious mind who likes to do many things, but also works full-time, that there is no way that I could ever do everything. And that acceptance has really helped, because it helped me to just enjoy the thing that I'm doing now and be okay with all the other things that I'm not doing now. So it's been a mindset shift from the FOMO, the fear of missing out on all the things you're not doing, to the JOMO, which stands for joy of missing out, in the sense that I was fully engaged with what I was doing at the time and I can actually enjoy it and be okay with the fact that there are many books maybe that I'll never get to read, or maybe I'll read them some other time, and it doesn't stress me out so much anymore. Number 5 of the things I quit doing is engaging with people who thrive on drama. Most of us say that we don't like drama, but in my experience, drama has a way of sneaking into our life more often than we like. But I've learned that you actually have more influence over the amount of drama in your life than you might think. It's easy to think that drama is caused by other people, but in reality, it really depends on how we choose to respond. If you make a conscious choice not to engage in drama and not to fuel it and join in, then most of it will simply pass you by. I like to think of it like this: drama is looking for a place to stick. And if you act like a sticker, then it sticks to you. But if you don't, then it kind of just slides off. So that means gently changing the topic if it turns negative or gossipy, just not adding fuel to the fire and not getting sucked into stories that are not yours. And it also means making intentional choices about who you want to spend your time with. So I try to avoid people who thrive on drama, who always just kind of seem to be in conflict or in the middle of chaos. Over time, I've kind of developed a bit of a sensor to spot those kinds of people early on, and when I do, I just kind of quietly choose not to engage. And when people see that you aren't engaging in the negativity and the drama and the gossip, then they will look elsewhere and they'll leave you be. Because when you stop feeding the drama, your life will automatically become simpler, calmer, nicer, and you will have less noise, less tension, and more space for you to spend your energy on things that make you happy. Number 6 was a really big one for me, and that is being afraid to let people down. So I have always been the person who was very much scared of letting other people down, and I had very high standards for myself. And if someone would tell me that they were disappointed in me, it would completely crush me. I remember when I finally decided to quit my job when I was working for a toxic company for a couple years. And when they told me that they were disappointed, it was really hard for me. Even though leaving was 100% the right choice for me, I still carried that guilt and that negative feeling about disappointing them for a long time. But over the years, I've learned that if you strive to live your life in a way where no one is ever disappointed in you, then you're really not living your life for yourself at all. Because it's hard to make intentional and authentic choices that make sense for you if you're always trying to manage other people's expectations. Another example of this is for me how I spend the holidays. So as a highly sensitive person, I've always kind of looked forward to the festive season of the year, but it has also always been very overwhelming for me. The family gatherings, all the food, all the gifts, all the loud conversations, all the activity, it left me feeling completely spent and drained and exhausted. And for a long time, I went along with it because I felt like that's what people are supposed to do. During the holidays, I felt like it was expected of me and I didn't want to disappoint anyone by not being there. And now I spend the holidays very differently. Instead of going to the big gatherings, I now try to spend some quality time, more so like one-on-one, with certain family members around the holiday season. And in the past, I never would have been able to bring this up because I was so scared to disappoint people, especially my parents, that I wasn't like a part of the big gatherings anymore. But I've learned if you communicate honestly, kindly, then, you know, if people love you, they'll respect it, they'll understand it, and they do. So it's just been a very big change. Letting go of the fear of disappointing people has helped me to make choices for my life that are more intentional, more authentic, and that actually fit who I am instead of who I feel like I should be. Number 7 of the things I quit is wasting time and energy on hopeless causes. And I know that in English they have a phrase for this. It's called beating a dead horse. In Dutch, we say pulling on a dead horse, which I don't really know why that is, but I don't really like that phrase. It sounds super mean, so I'm just gonna say wasting time and energy on hopeless causes. Holding on to something that clearly isn't working anymore or never actually worked in the first place, but being afraid to let go. This can be forcing friendships that are really one-sided, or staying in a relationship even though it's not working anymore, or holding on to a business idea that clearly is not working out. Chasing the approval from people who were never going to give me their approval anyway. It can also be small things like staying with a hobby even though you don't really enjoy it anymore, or in my case that my body just clearly did not tolerate full contact karate. But keeping up with it out of sense of guilt or attachment. The truth is, if you keep pouring energy into something that just is not giving you any energy back, it will slowly drain you. It takes up your time, your mental space, your emotional bandwidth, and it actually prevents you from putting that energy towards something that is giving you something in return. And letting go is not always easy, so maybe you feel like you've wasted your time and energy or that you failed, but usually holding on out of fear or obligation or guilt tends to cost us even more in the end. Number 8 is very appropriate today, and that is dreading the summers. For a long time, I dreaded summer. I would actually already start feeling a little bit anxious in the spring as soon as the sun came out. My body does not respond well to hot weather. That has always been the case. I get really tired and sluggish. I get headaches. I start to retain a lot of water. I start feeling sweaty and miserable and uncomfortable. It's just not my season. I have always loved spring, autumn, and even winter, but as soon as the summer started, I basically went into survival mode, just kind of waiting for it to be over. The thing is though, that summer comes around every year and it is 1/4 of your life. That is a lot of time to kind of like be wishing away and wishing for it to be over. So I now try to, instead of label certain times of the year or even of the week as good or bad, just kind of being open to the idea that maybe they could be enjoyable, because you never know. So I realized that instead of dreading this season every year, I could try and meet it with acceptance and find things that I do like about it and ways to enjoy those. Eating ice cream, drinking my tea on the balcony in the mornings, eating summer fruit, making rhubarb jam. I learned that even if something is not your favorite season and you don't feel your best, maybe in your case it's the winter time, there are still things that you can do to appreciate it and live mindfully in that season and kind of enjoy it as much as you can. Because if there's a recurring thing in your life that you're always just kind of wishing for it to be over, then that's kind of a waste of your life. Number 9 is needing to cook elaborate meals every day. For a long time, as you may have guessed by now, I very much held myself up to high standards, and one of them was with cooking and the meals that I was preparing. So I really felt like I needed to cook something truly like delicious and healthy and beautiful and Instagram worthy every day. And this was also because I was very much watching cooking channels and all these recipe videos, and I felt like that was what my food should look like every day. But that kind of perfectionism is kind of exhausting and not realistic to live up to every day, especially when it's summer and it's like 30 degrees out Celsius, 30 degrees Celsius. Or when I just have a really busy, hectic day, or I don't have the energy to go grocery shopping. So now, at least half of the time, I cook super simple meals. They're more like functional. They are healthy, I think they are tasty, but they don't necessarily look like they can be photographed for Instagram. They don't have all kinds of different special ingredients and special toppings. They're super simple. And sometimes when there's a heat wave, or when I'm on my period, or when I'm just really busy, we eat a ready-made meal. I think that's perfectly fine too. So I've really let go of that need of perfectionism when it came to our meals. And this shift in perfectionism and how we approach different parts of our life can also be extended to so many other things. For example, our workout routine. So when it's super hot out, or I'm on my period, or something is going on, I don't feel so good, I don't expect myself to keep up my regular workout routine at all. I go much slower. So now I ask myself, is this what I should be doing now? Or is this just something that I feel like I should be doing now? It's kind of about balance, knowing when, it's nice to kind of challenge yourself maybe a little bit, and when to just give yourself grace and do kind of like the minimum and have that be fine. Because balance, I have learned, is not a constant state that we can get to. It is a habit, and it's a skill that we can practice. It means being in tune with yourself and accepting how things are and finding flexibility there to meet that balance. Number 10 is worrying about my looks on special events. For a long time, I spent so much mental energy worrying about my looks, especially when it came to big events like weddings, graduations, big trips, but also smaller things like meeting up with friends or going out for dinner. I don't think in my case that this had a lot to do with ego. I think it mostly had to do with a deep insecurity, especially around women. So maybe some of you can relate to this. I used to have a few toxic friendships when I was small, and I was also bullied a little bit. And all these things together led to me having a bit of an inferiority complex when I compared myself to other women. And I was always so worried that they would think that I looked weird, or that I did something wrong with my hair or my makeup, or that I didn't look stylish or anything. I remember straightening my hair for every kind of event possible because I just didn't know what to do with this. And I would just step one step outside of the door and my hair would go poof because it was not straight. I didn't have straight hair. So I would bring my straightener with me, for example, to my sister's wedding, so that when I was there and my hair had poofed up again because I was outside, I could just straighten it real quick and have it be good for the photos. On trips, I would pack everything, so many wardrobe options, all my beauty products, my hair straightener. I would bring all of that stuff and literally be weighed down by the things that I brought, because I wanted to look good there and I wanted to look good in the pictures. Or at least not look bad. That was more a correct way of phrasing it. And I don't even really know what shifted. Maybe this is just part of getting older, or it is a natural extension from trying to live your life in a simpler, more authentic way, that I really don't care about this at all anymore. Like, I can honestly say that I stopped stressing about this almost at all. I've basically accepted that I am human. We're all human. Sometimes we look good, some days we don't. And we all have that. Letting go of this pressure has simplified my life so much. I travel much lighter, I get ready much faster, and I never feel stressed about how I look, and I can actually enjoy the thing that I'm doing without being preoccupied with that. I also leave the home without any makeup on for many days a week now, and I feel totally fine. I think I look fine. And that is something that I never would have done like 10 years ago. So these were 10 things I quit for a slower, simpler, more intentional life. And these changes didn't happen overnight. I'm also still learning and adjusting as I go. But letting go of these things has created just so much more space for rest, for relaxation, for joy, and for being in the present moment. I hope something in this video resonated with you too. We don't always have to do more, be more, keep up, be good enough. Sometimes the best thing that we can do is choose intentionally how we want to approach our days. So now I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments section. Which of these 10 things resonated with you the most? Or is there something that you have recently quit that has given you positivity, freedom, simplicity? I would love to hear in the comments. And if you'd like some more help in slowing down and creating a life that feels calm and intentional, then you can also check out my online course, which is called Unhurried. This is my 30-day slow living program where every day you get an email from me with a new lesson and an inspiring challenge. And these challenges are short and sweet. They can be done in 15 minutes or less. And they're all about helping you to find ways to experience slow living directly into your everyday life and find different ways of approaching your day and creating more calm. So if that sounds like something you would enjoy, then you can find all the details and sign up through the link in the description box below. As always, thank you so much for being here until the end of the video. I really appreciate it. Questions, comments, conversations down below. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you all again really soon. Bye bye. So last weekend our toilet broke because the float valve had broken and none of us had ever fixed a toilet. So we didn't really know, and I had plans, so I had to leave, but my boyfriend fixed the toilet. So I was super proud of him, and now I know, or we know, what to do when the float valve is broken.